Hi adorable friends, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be setting up my March 2023 bullet journal spreads. And for this month, I decided I'm going to use bright colors, some yellows, some pink, and a little bit of blue and green as well. So here I am, pretty much just setting up all of the different supplies that I'll be using to make the spread. And I'm quite excited about the theme for this month. You will see it very soon. Here are all the cutout images that I have stamped and colored. So it will be a lemonade theme this time around. Oh, and we will be accompanied by these cute cactus throughout the entire video. So let's just start flipping to the right page and we can start. For this month's spread, I'm using one of the newest stamp sets from Lawn Fawn, You're the Zest. And I also use this one called Make Lemonade. This is one of the older stamp set, but they really go together because they both have lemons on them. And because I actually want to make strawberry lemonade, I also use this stamp set Berry Special. And to complete them, to have little strawberries from different places, I also use Sweet Friend and So Smooth to complete the picture. I'm first going to set up the monthly reflection page, and this time around I want to do something that I haven't done before, which is using the stamp directly onto the page. Well, I've done that before, but I haven't done it that it's actually going to make a frame, and inside that frame I'm going to write down my monthly reflection. So I'm using this tiny lemonade all across, interspersed with the strawberries. So you will see, and I will color them in yellow and in pink, so you will see yellow, pink, and that makes the entire frame for the monthly reflection. Here I am, starting to color the stamp images. We'll start with the smiling cute lemonade here. And as you can see, this time around I'm using the Staedtler double-ended markers. And I numbered them based on their position in the box, the set. So that's the number that you saw there, just for me to be easier to identify the different markers that I'm using for a particular spread. I am now coloring the strawberries, and I'm using pink colors, and I really love this combination of bright yellow and pink. It feels very, well, bright. It feels light, and I really like that in my bullet journal. I tend to have brighter and lighter colors, although I like to also mix it up with pastels. I made conscious choices to diversify my color combos inside of my spreads across the month. And this time around, I'm just really happy that I'm able to use this really bright color combo. And I also decided to use different type of markers this time around because I have many different markers, just because I'm a little bit addicted to different stationaries. I hope you can relate. And to kind of just maybe justify having so many stationaries, I do try to use them. So this is one of my ways to use my many different stationaries that I have, while at the same time also kind of finding different color combinations, because different markers have different available colors and different colors that go nicely together. So that's also my other reason why I try to use my different markers. Now that the monthly reflection page is done, I'm going to set up the cover page for this month. And this is going to be the scene that is quite repeated throughout because I absolutely love this composition. And I have to give props to Megan Quinn. She's Soliciela in Instagram. I'll be sure to link her account down below. I saw a card that she made using this stamp set, and I thought I absolutely love the color combination and the composition of the images that she used. So I reproduced them in these monthly spreads. So that's basically my entire inspiration for this month's spread. I absolutely love doing that. I love looking at other people's creation and thought to myself, that's absolutely cute. I would love to have those too. And I would reproduce it, maybe giving my own twist in my own craft. Of course, not forgetting to give them credits. So this is part of my reason why I'm sharing my work online as well. Maybe in some way, I would be able to also inspire you to make your own creation, and feel free to replicate, reproduce what I did. If it gives you happiness, I think that's just wonderful. We are now done with the monthly reflection page and the cover page. So the next spread that I am setting up is the calendar spread. And for this month, I decided to do something a little bit simpler compared to my other calendars because sometimes I want to have different images representing different slot of the dates in the calendar. And this time around, I decided I want to go back a little bit to kind of like the grid style of making calendars. I like to differentiate them. I like to change my style from month to month, the different kind of calendars. Well, you know, this is one of the style that I use in my own bullet journal, not just the weekly spread, but also the calendar, and the way that I set up the monthly reflection page will be quite different from month to month. So for this one, I decided to go back to the more simpler, straightforward, grid calendar page style that I still really like and still think it's really cute. As you can see here, I'm not really using a ruler to make this grid. I'm just freehanding it because I like the more organic look of the lines when I'm just freehanding it. Although there are some spreads that I would use rulers because I want to use something quite precise. And that is usually if I want to have a spread where it looks like my calendar, not really calendar, but my different elements looks like they're hanging onto like a wire grid, for example. You can take a look at my February setup. One of the setups actually used this kind of wire background, and then the rest of the spread looks like they are hanging on this wire background. So for that wire, I actually use rulers, but most of the time I would freehand my lines. Now you see me here starting to put in colors for these different slot of days of the calendar, and I alternate them between the three main colors for this spread, which is yellow, pink, and green. And I like it when they are alternating between boxes. So sometimes the way that I do it, I alternate the colors between the entire row of dates, but sometimes I do it in between boxes. And I think my favorite style more on differentiating them between boxes because it really shows how these colors are next to each other and becoming a nice color combo. One silly thing that I just realized is that the color combination that I'm using this time around are very similar to the color combination that you can see in the two cacti in the video. Maybe I was inspired by them to choose this color combination, and to be fair, I do think the color combination of pink, yellow, and greens are some of my favorite because it really is, like I said before, it brings that kind of like feeling of lightness and happiness onto my spread. Now all the the coloring is done, all I need to do to complete the grid is to put in the dates number, and I'm choosing this time around to use my normal black markers to write down the dates, but I think it might also be nice to use white gel pen, for example, to make it pop also from the page. It is time now for my probably favorite thing to do when I make a spread, which is to decorate them with all of these cute images. And as you can see here, I'm replicating again the same composition that you see in the cover page. I love how this composition is made complete, so to say, with all of those little tiny images. So the little strawberries, the little leaves, and the little flowers that are spread out in the entire composition. I think that's what really ties in everything together and makes it really, really cute. And I also really love it that you get to stamp the face of the lemon, so to say. It's a very cute face of the lemon. One of the things that I realized that people don't realize when they saw my spread is that each of these images are made by stamps, so using clear stamps that I will then color and cut out. So they're not stickers. It takes a little bit more time to make them, but I love it because it still has that handmade feel, which I really love, and that's why the kind of style that I am using for all of my spreads in my bullet journal. Now I'm putting in the last decoration for this particular page, and that is the bottom composition, and it's somewhat the tinier or smaller version of the bigger composition there, because it's still having the lemonade drink itself, the lemon and the strawberries, but they're smaller images than the one at the top, and I'm quite happy that there are images available to actually do this. So now that we're done with the calendar page, we can start making the first weekly of the month. And as you can see, it will be a Dutch door, and my plan is to have a row of lemons on the side that will flip back and forth. So that's the first thing that I do, kind of figuring out where these lemons are going to be. After adhering all of the lemons off camera, I then put the faces onto these cute lemons and making sure that they have variety of expressions, and then I started to arrange the strawberries in between them, and I also adhered them with glue off camera. After everything was glued down well, I started to cut around the shape of the images, and I did it off camera because it's quite challenging, so I have kind of like turn the journal around to make it possible to go around the images, and you can see this is the result of it. And on the other side, my plan is to also put the rows of lemons and the strawberries, so it mirrors the ones on the other side with a slightly different direction, so that when you flip them back and forth, you will have a row of lemon on both sides. Now that the other side was also glued down, I did exactly the same thing as what I did on the other side, which is putting on these cute expressions on each of the lemons. And then afterwards, it's pretty much done, the Dutch door. And I started writing up the calendar part for my spread. As you know, for every single weekly spread, I would have a little calendar, a mini calendar. I really like including that. And for this one, this is the most stretched version of the calendar that I think is quite genius, the way that it is set up. But I didn't use this that often, and I think I should, because it free up the rest of the space for me to play around with different layouts and different decorations. Oh, and just to clarify, the reason why I said I think it's a genius idea for the calendar is because I was inspired by someone else. So this was not necessarily my own idea. It wasn't me kind of like patting myself on the back thinking of this genius idea. I again was inspired by someone else. I'm going to link it below where I saw the first time the use of this calendar. I also used this calendar last year as well. And as what I'm doing at the moment is making the boxes for the different days. First, as you can see, I made the corner of the frames and then I fill it up to make a complete box. When I'm done with the boxes, I started writing down the name of the days and the date basically for each of the boxes. And then the last thing that I did for these boxes, because there's one more thing that I did for this spread, is to complete the boxes, I also use different colors to highlight them, and this is probably my most favorite way of highlighting a boxes, where you have some sort of a drop shadow for each of the boxes and a drop shadow of all different colors tying into the color combo that you use for that particular spread. The very last thing that I did for the spread when I'm done with coloring all the boxes, putting on the dates of the boxes, is to make this part on the side where the lemons are landing. And I am thinking back and forth between making it into places where I can write down notes or simply just to have a background color. And I decided for the latter one. Now that the first weekly is done, we can do a quick flip through. This is the cover page and the monthly reflection page with the frame, and this is our calendar with different color of the boxes alternately. And then this is the first weekly that we just did with a Dutch door where the rows of lemons are flipped back and forth between the two pages and with different cute expressions on their faces. Well, thank you so much for joining me for another video. I really appreciate you joining me this far, and I really hope you like the video. If you do, please give it a like, and I would appreciate you subscribing. I would love to see you next time around, and until then, I hope you have a great day, and bye.